Hi, boys and girls, and I have a read aloud for today. I was starting to think ahead a little bit about our upcoming last virtual field trip to outer space, and I came across this read aloud called Our Sun. So I thought we might enjoy it together. All right, let's take a look. Our Sun. It's written by Hannah Gramson. And it's a nonfiction book, so that means it's going to be all true facts. As we're reading, here are some questions to think about. What is the sun, and why is it important to life on Earth? Well, one thing I know about the sun is that it's important because what do we learn about in science about plants and how they grow? You're right, they need sunlight, and that's important to plants because did you notice in our experiment that we did, when we grew a plant and gave it light and water with soil, that that plant was very green? And actually, you may not have seen the one growing in soil because that one actually just sprouted. But we noticed the one that was growing in the sandwich bag was very, very green. What happened to the one that grew in the dark? Was that one green? No, it wasn't. So I think sunlight is important to plants because it helps them be green. And I wonder why it's important for plants to be green. I wonder what that does for our plants. But let's read about the sun and learn a little bit about the sun and why it's important to life on Earth. Here's our table of contents. It looks like this girl's outside. She looks like she was just on a walk and she stopped to enjoy the sunshine. I know many of you have been getting outside and probably have done the same. What is the sun? The sun is a star. A star is a large ball of gas that gives off energy. The sun is the closest star to Earth. So I think it's interesting to know that when I think of energy, sometimes the first thing I think of is all the energy I have in my body, like to go out and run around, to play with domino, and you may have been told that, boy, oh boy, you have lots of energy. Well, the sun doesn't have that kind of energy, but it gives off energy, and maybe we'll learn a little bit about this the more we read. Oh, and it says, the sun is the closest star to Earth, but it is still very far away. The sun's energy. We can feel the sun's energy as heat. We can see the sun's energy as light. Without heat and light, there would be no life on Earth. We can see and feel the sun's energy even on a cloudy day. Even on a cloudy day where we can't really see the sun shining, we still know it's daytime. And even on a cloudy day in the middle of summer, we can still feel the heat that from the earth, from the sun really, and then we're feeling it here on Earth. So we can still feel a hot day. It's important though that we never look directly at the sun. I happened to notice in the glasses of this little girl, I could see a reflection of the sun. It's important never ever look right directly at the sun. It will hurt your eyes. Heat from the sun. Without the sun's heat, Earth would be too cold. The sun warms Earth's land, air, and oceans. Without the sun's heat, water would be solid ice. Just think about all the beautiful creatures that we just saw on our last trip to the aquarium. That would be not so good for them if we didn't have the sun's heat. And the caption says, the sun will warm the snow and ice, turning them to liquid water. And we see a lot of this happen late February and March. Into March, when if we've had a lot of snow, it starts to melt. The sun's heat turns ice to liquid water that we can drink. All plants and animals need to drink water to live, and this is absolutely true. Horses and other animals need water to drink. Light from the sun. Without the sun's light, Earth would be dark. We need we need sun's light to see. The sun makes it possible for us to see. Now, you might be thinking, well, when Mom and Dad turn out the lights in my bedroom, the sun's clearly not shining, but I could still see. And that is true. If we didn't have any other kinds of light, like they did long ago, and they didn't use candles or anything, it would be very hard to see what's going on. And I'm not certain that other planets have a sun like our sun, which is our closest star, to make it light and warm. The sun's light also helps plants grow. Plants use sunlight to make their own food. Humans and other animals need plants to live. So remember before we started reading, I said, I wonder why the sunlight is important to making plants green. Well, inside of each plant is almost like a chemical that when it mixes with the light from the sun, the leaves pretend like they're their hands and they're facing the sun. They're taking in all that light and warmth, and inside, it's almost like a switch goes off and it turns the plant green. It also helps the plant make its own food, which is important. The sun and weather. Without the sun, there would be no weather. The sun's heat turns liquid water to gas. Now that's interesting. That's something that I've never thought of before. We have rain because of the sun. This is absolutely true. Remember, a couple of times back in school, I would talk about this, why we get rainy days. Imagine the clouds in the sky are like sponges. There's some days where you don't see any clouds in the sky. And all of a sudden, you start to see these big white puffy clouds, and they might get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now imagine it's like a sponge. What happens when you fill a sponge? It gets full of water, and then eventually the water starts to drip out. Well, imagine that cloud is like the sponge. Clouds can only hold so much water before they have to let it go. And they drop it as rain. And that's how we get rain. And depending on the temperature and what season it is, that could either mean we get rain or we get snow. The gas rises into the air. When the gas in the air gets cold, it turns into clouds. Clouds can be all kinds of sizes and shapes. That's absolutely true. Clouds are made of tiny drops of water. When the drops get bigger, they fall as rain, snow, or hail. There would be no snow without the sun. The sun is important. Without the sun's heat, we would have no water or weather. We have heat, water, and weather because of the sun. Without the sun's light, we would have no plants or food. We need the sun to live on Earth. The sun helps us grow healthy food. Boy, oh boy, am I certainly glad that we have the sun. Sun safety. Too much light and heat from the sun can hurt your eyes and skin. To stay safe when you play outside, follow these rules. Never look directly at the sun. Wear sunglasses and sunscreen. Stay in the shade. Drink plenty of water. There are many things you can do to stay safe on a sunny day. How many of these do you do? I hope you do most of them. I know Domino and I do. And here's our glossary. Remember, that's the book's own little personal dictionary. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Remember, this is a fun, quick week. Let's make the best of it.